I don't know how else to explain why I do the reciprocity project, but the only thing I could tell you is that people have tears in their eyes when there's been a number of cases now that I have run into people of all walks and in different levels, whatever you might say in terms of prestige, and with tears in their eyes, like full out tears. Um, they say how much they appreciate what is going on with the reciprocity project. And I think the fundamental reason is that people do not understand the PhD market. There's this like belief that PhDs are somehow highfalutin, that they sort of look down on you, and it comes down to is people just don't understand it. And I would argue that a whole bunch of even PhDs don't understand it as well because they've never gone through the struggle of doing something where the market just does not care, like just is doesn't really get it, and you could put in a great deal of work. Or on the opposite side, it's hard to get going, and it is really discouraging to get going. And I think a lot of people just don't get what that is. If you had a very, very good advisor, for example, if you had, you were in the right place at the right time and everything went well, um, then it's easy to do the PhD thing, right? Like a number of people that have sort of talked about it, that they would say that this was an easy thing to actually do, and they don't really get the sort of struggles that other people get. But if you don't fit that mold, if you don't fit the different check boxes, whatever that is, right? Maybe you're doing something that is not necessarily um, impressed by the market. And I mean, the market is just all of these different positions that universities around the institutions around the world that are looking for a certain thing. So right now, it's 2023. A lot of people are looking for artificial intelligence stuff. And if you're not doing artificial intelligence stuff, well, good luck. Um, you know, and there's all of this kind of what's called herding behavior that happens, and if you're not part of that group, if you're doing something that doesn't fit that mold, good luck. It's not going to work out for you, and you have to figure out how to deal with this. And you have to figure out, is this me, what's going on, and the number of people that are challenged, that don't, that are just discouraged, that have a great deal of negative emotions, and they don't know how to process that is more than you'd ever imagine. And I would say even super prestigious people, even people that are not so prestigious, at all walks, they all experience this at some point in their life if they stay with the research game, if they keep it up. There is, unless you've gone through this and you realized what it means, unless you've felt it, you don't get it. You don't really get it. So there's a whole bunch of people that don't get it, even within the academic game, because they've never felt that experience. They've never gone through it. There might have been everything worked out for them and they had a great job and they didn't sort of struggle at something. They didn't, and then maybe they are not doing the whole research game because they got out of it. They didn't sort of feel the feelings of what it means to struggle at something. And everybody else that goes through this, which I think is the majority. I think, if you were to take a market and you were to say 75% go through this and they feel disenchanted, they feel lost, they feel like they're alone, they have nobody to talk to. They don't have anybody. They can't talk to anybody about these different problems. Nobody gets them. You can't talk to somebody that's in the real world. They don't get it. They don't get that feeling of what you're going through and the the pain that you feel, like actual physical pain that you feel. So this is why I actually do the reciprocity project, because I think science can benefit so much by having supportive outlets, whatever that is, by having different tools, whatever that is, everything that you can imagine, all those different things. Science can greatly benefit by having some positive support because it just doesn't exist. It's built on a mechanism of negative reinforcement. So, what does that mean? You only have negative feedback, and you have to figure out what to make sense of when you get feedback. And it's very few and far between. It is every few years you get feedback on something. But when you get feedback, it's negative, and it's usually really ambiguous that you don't understand. It's all of the things that we would study, and we would say, "Hey, this is maybe." I read a lot of stuff about learning and decision making, and I can't help but think when I read it, is this really what they're talking about, or is this talking about their personal experiences? And often it's talking about their personal experiences when you have a nice little conversation with those people that have written things. So I want you to know that the Reciprocity Project is making a difference. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that, but that's okay. I think there's gaps that we need to recognize, we need that are really important, and we have to pursue those things regardless of whether they get recognized or not. And we need to start saying, hey, how can we make this better? Can we create things? Can we create systems? Can we create tools to make this better? To make it fun, to make it exciting, to make it rewarding? Why not? What are we doing here, anyways?